They could have went that way, but the Apocrypha tells you that the Lord had to hold back the storms. Now every year from June to November is hurricane season. So all along here, this is Hurricane Alley from June to November. So when it said the Lord had to hold back the storms because it took them a year and a half, it took them a year and a half to sail through this way, and then they went up this way. And over here is where the storms come through. From here, the hurricanes build, and they come through and they smack over here, and they'll smack these islands. They'll go into the Gulf and smack the hell out the Gulf of Mexico. They'll go up and hit Florida and come up this way. And a lot of times it'll come up and then it'll go out to sea. But all of the hurricanes come up this way. So Israel had to come this way. It tells you in the Apocrypha, which we're going to get. But let's go back to the scripture. First, it's hard for me to see, but if I had a magnifying glass, I could find it better. But it's, around that area. And the Apocrypha is going to say they entered the Euphrates. Go ahead.
This is 1 Kings 10, verse 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish.
So once every 3 years, the navy of Tarshish would come back to Jerusalem to bring the bounty. Now in the Apocrypha, it tells you when Israel left through Assyria, it took them a year and a half to come this way, and the Lord had to hold back the storms. So they had a safe trip when they left the Assyrian captivity to come here to the Americas. So it took them a year and a half to sail that journey. Then they got maps out there. If you look at the currents, there's a current. Once you come up into this way, there's a current that'll take you this way. Then there's another current that brings you this way, and there's currents that bring you up into this way. So that's exactly what happened, what took place. That's the way that they went. Because if they would have went this way, that would have been a shorter distance, because you don't have to go down here and then come up. So they didn't go that way. They came this way.
This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 43.
We're gonna go back to where you at. Keep your finger there.
This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 43. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
Right. So they entered into the Euphrates. It's hard for me to see the Euphrates up on there, but who got a Bible with a map in the back? You can see it. You can see it better through there. No, keep your finger there. Okay. Anyone of you got your Bible on you? Let me see your Bible. You got a map. There should be a map back there.
He's holding something, right? He's holding something.
It would be. Let me look at this map right here. Now he's holding something. Let me see yours.
That's a little smaller though.
There's a little, but that's all right.
Which one is it?
Okay. Let me take a look. Yeah, no, it's man. A lot of these, yeah, it's like kind of small, man. It's really small to see.
Yeah, that's just Israel right there.
Yep.
Probably the next
Canaan, Amalek.
Or the page after that.
Let's see. That's the Mediterranean.
Right there.
Right here. Right here, the Euphrates. So they took the Euphrates, and they came down the Euphrates, and they entered into here, and then they went down. So that's the way that they went. They went through the Euphrates, and the Euphrates took them down into that way. Yep. Bring that map back over here. It's like it, brother. It's like it. Let me see. So the Euphrates would have to be this right here, somewhere around here, and they came into here, and then they sailed down. They came through, and they went this way. That's the way that they went. Go ahead, read that again from the Euphrates. What was it?
It says, the 2nd Ezra 13 and 43. It says, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Right. And held still the flood till they were passed over. Go ahead.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
Right. So because through this country right? When they came through the Euphrates,
The funniest part,
and they came into this area, there was a great way to go, and the Lord held back the floods over here because a great way to go, namely of a year. And so it took them a year and a half to sail through, and they came through this way. So this is where the tornadoes come through. So you would get flooded. A tornado hits your ship, what's going to happen? The boat is going to be flipped over. Water's going to be getting dumped into the ship. You're going to get flooded out. More likely, them ships are going to get turned over and be sent to the bottom. A hurricane, because this is Hurricane Alley right here. Right now, we in hurricane season. June to November is hurricane season. All through here this is Hurricane Alley, and the hurricanes start from here and they come up like this. They come up that way. So he had to hold back the floods because it took a year and a half to go that way. It wouldn't have taken a year and a half to go through the Mediterranean and go this way through the Atlantic. That wouldn't have taken a year and a half. They went through Euphrates, which is over this way. Euphrates don't take you this way. Euphrates takes you here. And then you're here in the Arabian Sea, and then they come through this way. That's where the Euphrates takes you. So that's the key right there. So that shows they didn't go that way. Right? Go ahead.
It says, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Azareth. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come.
Right. And they dwelt there in Azareth until the latter time. So they wasn't dwelling there in Jerusalem. The northern, talking about the northern tribes. They weren't dwelling in Jerusalem after that time. They dwelt there in Azareth, the land where mankind never dwelt until the end times. So they're still there in the end times right now. Then what's the proof on that? You look up history here in America, the Native Americans spoke Hebrew. The Indians in Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Cuba spoke Hebrew, spoke broken Hebrew. So what is that telling you? They're Israelites.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
The Indians that are in Peru. There's a book called Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. And in there, Ronald Sanders, it talks about a Portuguese explorer. His name was Montesinos. So some Indian guides were taking him through the Quito Mountains in Peru. The Quito Mountains is over here. This is Peru. So Mount Quito, this is Peru right here. So the Quito Mountains is over this way. So he was being taken through here, through Peru. He was a Portuguese explorer. Then he encountered some Indians who met each other, and basically, when they met each other, they said, Shema Yasha Allah Yahweh Allah Nawa Yahweh Akkad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one. So Montesinos, a Portuguese explorer, he observed and listened to that, was like, that's the credo of the Israelites. Then the Indian guy told him, well, look, he said, I'm from the tribe of Reuben. The tribe of Ephraim is on an island nearby. And they were giving each other smoke signals to let them know, okay, the coast is clear, you could bring them up this way now. They were at a certain area and they were looking for a certain sign. They got the sign, and then they were going further in. So they were over here in Peru. The Portuguese explorer, his name was Montesinos. That was his Portuguese name, Montesinos. And that's in the book Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. So he knew that the Indians that were here in South America, which it was Reuben there and Ephraim was there, they were speaking Hebrew because they greeted each other, which that goes back to Deuteronomy, I think the 7th chapter. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. So again, what the hell are these people talking about that Israel don't exist? Like Israel just fucking walked off the side of the earth somewhere, off the flat earth, and fell off the fucking flat earth or something. Where do these guys come up with this bullshit, man? Like the Israelites never existed, but the Roman Empire had the Israelites subjugated, but the Israelites never existed. Get the fuck out of here, man. There's all kind of information out there. And then even the Smithsonian Institute, in Back Creek, Tennessee, some scholars have found an inscription in Paleo Hebrew in a rock. And when they took it to bring it to the museum, a picture of it, they took the picture upside down. But when you turn it right side up, it's Paleo-Hebrew. And it says, for the land of Judah in Hebrew. Yahweh. For the land of Judah, it says on it. And that was in Cherokee country over there in Tennessee. It's called the Back Creek Stone. And the Smithsonian had that hidden in the basement of the Smithsonian for years. They didn't want nobody to know about that. They kept that out of the public eye. So Esau, they got the records and they got shit hidden. They got shit that they're not gonna show the public. Because then that would trigger, wait a minute, then if this is in Cherokee country and the Cherokees were speaking Hebrew, then what does that mean the Cherokees are? Then what does that mean them fucking so-called Jews are? A bunch of fucking lying imposters. That's what it means. Let's go back into there a little bit.
Yeah. So it says 46. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come.
Right. Okay, now go back to there in Kings.
First Kings 10, verse 22.
That's why it said here it took a year and a half for them to get here. But a year and a half to get here and then a year and a half to come back. So every 3 years, the Tarshish, Solomon's navy of Tarshish, every 3 years would come back. They would come back with the bounty. Because they were over here, what? They were cutting down trees. So Hiram's navy, they stayed over here and they were cutting down the trees and milling the wood or whatever. And when the Tarshish group came, they loaded the ships. Then the Tarshish group would turn around and come right back while they were still hewing and cutting down more for the next shipment. So this is a shipment that a shipment that took 3 years to bring over this way. Not 3 years to get it together. It took them 3 years for it to make it back. A year and a half to get there. How long it ever took them to load the boats up, and then a year and a half to sail back. So every 3 years, Solomon rejoiced. But it took a year and a half to get here in the Apocrypha. That's why the tribes knew that way to go. They knew the route to go. So Columbus, going back to Columbus, you're speaking about him. The movie was called Conquest 1492. So Columbus knew about Esdras. See, the information about this side of the world, that's old information. That wasn't new information even at that time. Because refer back to this. That wasn't new information. And then even before Columbus came on the scene, the Vikings came over here to America, and they were Jakes too. They came over here and they mapped out America and South America. They got a set of maps called the famed Vinland maps, and then they got another set of maps called the Perry Reese maps. And Columbus had those maps in his possession when he left Spain and Portugal to cross the Atlantic to come this way. He knew there was fucking land over here. He also knew that Israelites was over here. That's why he had a Hebrew interpreter with him on the boat with him. Something that they don't tell you in the public food system. You know, that bullshit that they teach you in school when you go to school, to be indoctrinated with Esau's bullshit. When they indoctrinate you with that bullshit in the public food system. That's why an Israelite whose head is screwed on right should be goddamn pissed off. See, but that's the thing. Our people, they don't know a damn thing about history, and they just walking around like everything's all hunky-dory. Like everybody's their friend. Everybody's not your friend. And these heathens don't like you. They like making money off of you, but they don't like you. They like making money off you, and they like your woman. That's what they like about you. They like the fact that they can sell you 4 chicken wings and motherfucking rice and watered down hot sauce, and then they can have your woman any day of the week that they want. But you can't have their woman though. Go over there and try to get one of them East Indian women. If they're not the ones that were born and live in Jamaica, you can get to them. But the ones that come from Pakistan, go try to get with one of them. But them Paki boys, they screwing the hell out of Sheikah and Taishika and Yvette and Yvonne and Lude and Jolanda and all of them. They fucking them all in the hood. And then they be bragging about it too. Them Arabs that come straight and they got the gas station or they got the chicken spot in the hood. Try to get with their daughters or their cousins and see how successful you are. That same Arab working in the crackhead chicken joint, they get with these black and Puerto Rican chicks in the hood, have babies with them and all that. And niggas is just cool with it. But they not cool with you being with their woman. Go try to talk to one of their women and see how the motherfuckers react. So they ain't your friends and they ain't your brothers. You know what I'm saying? Niggas gotta get that shit in their mind. These heathens, they come here to make money off of you. That's it. Make money off of you and screw your woman. That's what they come here for. They ain't your friends, they ain't your brothers. They just want to make money off of your ass. Go back over there.
This is back in 1 Kings 10 verse 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks.
And well, the word that's there, it really is not peacocks. It should say turkeys. They brought turkeys because there weren't no turkeys over there in the middle. They were actually it wasn't peacocks. They were bringing turkeys back. When you go into it, you know, they were bringing turkeys back this way. So all of those things, it said ivory and apes. So those animals over there. It said they would bringing ivory, apes, and different things from here back there to Jerusalem.
Kind of says elephant's teeth.
Right.
So it says, so King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom.
Right. So he had all the riches and the wisdom of the earth at that time. Solomon. So that was just a point to make a point to what the brother was saying about, you know, Israel being over here in the Americas. That's the history on it right there. That's the link up with that right there. That's how Israel got up over here. And they didn't go through the Mediterranean into the Atlantic over this way. They came through the Euphrates. So they came through the Euphrates. They emptied out into the Arabian Sea. They came down. They came down around the eastern side of Africa over here. And they came down this way under the Horn of Africa into the Atlantic. Another thing, real quick before you bring that out, if you watch the movie The Perfect Storm with George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg, they were talking about, they were Gloucestermen and they were fishermen. And the guy said, hey, we're gonna find the fish. He said, we're gonna sail around the Horn. The guy said, oh, the Horn. Really, really bad weather. You got the Horn of South America right here and the Horn of Africa right here. What's here in the middle of it? The Atlantic right here. And what happens? Hurricane season. So in the movie The Perfect Storm, they said, look, we're gonna go around the Horn and we're gonna get the fish. And the guy said, oh, the Horn? Oh no. He shook his head. Really, really bad weather. Lots of weather. Scripture said the Lord had to hold back the floods because it took them a year because they came this way under the Horn of Africa. So that's just another tidbit right there. What you got, brother?
The brother read it in second about I looked it up, and the first thing that came up was in the Jewish encyclopedia, right? It says, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration.
Observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration. So they were over this way. The 10 tribes is here. And Esau knows that the 10 tribes is here because they got the records. Even in the Jewish encyclopedia, they talk about the same accounts that I'm speaking about the one in Peru. They speak about that. They speak about different accounts of Portuguese explorers being throughout these different islands in South America and running into Israelites. They speak about that in the Jewish encyclopedia. So that means the so-called Jews, they know. And they knew for a long time.
And there's that great river right there. The Atlantic and the Atlantic Ocean, that's that great river.
Yeah, it ain't because the Euphrates comes down and empties into here, and then it comes into the Arabian Sea. And then you come through this way. Right, this is the Indian Ocean over here, the Arabian Sea, and you come through here, and then around the Horn of Africa, Horn of South America, Horn of Africa, and you got nothing but crazy ass weather over this way. That's why what was invented was the Panama Canal Zone, which is Panama's up, you know, Panama's like over around this way somewhere. So the ships, instead of them going around this way to come over here, or the ships from this side of the world or this side of the world, instead of them coming down around here with all that weather to go over here to bring their products or if you're on this side to come over here to bring your goods, or you're going over to here, over to there, you come right through the canal zone. You come through, pay the toll, do what you got to do here, over here, over here, over here, and then you go back through the canal zone over to this side. That's why the Panama Canal was one of the reasons why they, through the land, they mined it through the land. They made a canal zone right through the land. A ship weigh station. The ships go through, they get weighed, they pay the toll, and they go through.
America runs it too.
Yeah, America's been running it since it was built. Yeah.
Genesis 49 verse 13. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships.
Right, which is talking about the Panama Canal. Zebulun should be a haven of ships. That haven is talking about the Panama area. Panama Canal. Panama's right here, Salaki. Panama's right here. So right through here. This is where the Panama Canal is. So either you come here through the Caribbean Sea and you go through the canal here, and then you go over here and do your business, or you go over here and do your business. If you on this side and you want to get over here to New York, or you want to go over here to West Africa or Spain, Portugal, you come through the canal, through the Caribbean Sea into the Atlantic, do your business here, go through the Mediterranean, do your business here. If you want to come from France and bring a shipment to LA, it's cheaper to put it on a ship, and the ship goes through here. Don't have to deal with that weather. That don't mean they ain't gonna get caught by a hurricane or two on the way and lose a shipment, because you know it's tons of shit that's buried in the water. They show you on certain movies that those barges with those big containers be falling off the ship into the water. They don't be retrieving that shit. That's a loss. That's a loss. But that's what this Slocky, the scriptures meant about. It took 1.5 years. The Lord had to hold back the floods. That's what it's talking about. Go ahead, bro. Come with what you got.
Reading on, it says Columbus identified America with this land. The name, it has been suggested by Skilla Synesy, is taken from Deuteronomy 24 and 27, because they forsook the covenant of the Lord and went and served other gods. The Lord rooted them out of their land and cast them into another land.
That's right.
As this day. So they know.
Yep. So they know. So what does that show you? Jewish Encyclopedia, them motherfuckers know.
And they know they ain't the Jews.
Yeah. Say it again, brother.
And that they know that they ain't the Jews, if that's the case, man.
They know that they're not the Jews.
They would've, to this day, they can't identify the rest of the tribes.
Nope.
They only talk about Jew. Right?
Or they'll say that they're from the tribe of Levi, or Levi, or Benjamin, or Judah, or they'll play the Ephraim card because it says Ephraim is like a cake not turned. Right.
That's rare.
That's what they do. And mainly the morons do that. They try to play that they're Ephraim. Hey, you ain't no Ephraim. You a bunch of damn crackers, all right? You ain't no Ephraim. All right, and there wasn't no damn tribe here in America called Lamanites. All right, you had Gadites, Reubenites, Ephraimites, Asherites, Yashikarites, Manassites. That's who you had over here in the Americas. You didn't have no damn Lamanites. There ain't no such tribe as no damn Laman. All right, there wasn't no damn Mormons over here. That's all bullshit. All right, Joseph Smith was a fucking Freemason. All right, and from some stuff I had read online, I gotta do some more research on it. But from what I was reading, I gotta look more into it, and y'all can look into it on your own.
Yes, I
He actually stole the idea of that so-called Mormonism shit from another group of Freemasons. And they eventually caught up to him and killed his ass. From what I heard. I gotta look more into it.
I was gonna say too, even Hitler knew that the Jews weren't the real Jews. He called them bastards.
Yeah. Even Hitler knew, because Hitler was a so-called Jew himself.
Yep.
He was a so-called Jew. He was the illegitimate grandson of Solomon Rothschild. His mother's name, he just kept his mother's maiden name, His mother's name was Anna Marie Schicklgruber. And she gave birth to his son, Hitler's father, Alois Schicklgruber. So she named him Alois Schicklgruber. But she was, maid in Solomon Rothschild's castle. And Solomon Rothschild was known with the local police in that area for raping women. And basically he took her. And then she went back to Austria, but she was pregnant. So that's why when the Rothschilds set that whole thing up in Germany, who did they use? They used one of their heirs under another name. So he's a illegitimate Rothschild. And they're a bunch of so-called Jews. And they know that they're not the Jews. They got all the money, they got all the records, they got access to all the records. So they know. If anybody know, the Rothschilds know. They know that they're Esau. They changed their name to Rothschild. Red Shield or Red Child. Who's the Red Child? And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they named him Esau. They know that they're Esau, man. Esau had 5 sons. Maya Amschel Rothschild, or I think it was Moses, was the father, had what? 5 sons. And he set those 5 sons up to control the banking system in England, France, Italy, and basically they controlled the banking system in this side of the world over here. And then they sought out to take over the banking system over here. So he had 5 sons. The history of they know that they're Esau, they know that they're the devil, right? Because their name is Bauer, which means peasant. They changed it to Rothschild or Rothschild, Rothschild, Roth, Red Child, Rothschild or Red Shield, Red Child. So they know that they're the devil, man. They know that they're the devil. Go ahead, brother.
This is Ezekiel 28, verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Yeah, and that's going into what the elders are bringing out, man. There's no secret that, is to these Rothschilds. They know the truth, man. They know that these people here on the signs are the Israelites and that they're the Edomites, man. The elder apostles always say, in order to teach a lie, you need to know the truth, man. So
that goes to show you. The Library of Congress, you gotta have special clearance to go into the Library of Congress. It's just a library. Because the history in the Library of Congress only goes back 5,000 years. 5,000 years takes you back to the time of Adam. The earth ain't no 5 billion years old, 260 trillion years old. That's all fucking bullshit. That's bullshit. It's exactly what it is. I'm gonna call it exactly what it is. Bullshit. Who the hell was here to measure the days from 260 trillion fucking years ago to right now? Who was the man standing that actually counted that shit? There ain't none. It's bullshit. That's what it is. But you can't tell these stupid ass niggas nothing because they went to college and they got educated in that bullshit. Colleges were started by Jake. Those were places to go and learn about the Bible. Just like Cambridge University, that's where this Apocrypha is from. What does it say, brother? Cambridge University. These are places set up by Israelites to learn the scriptures, man.
Yeah, it's Ecclesiastes 10 and 7. I've seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth.
Right. Servants on horses, which is Esau, they in the power seat, and princes walking as peasants on the earth. They got a statue, I think, down there, and I think it shows it's FDR on the horse, and a Native American and a Negro walking while he's on the horse. I think it's down there, Lower Manhattan. Yeah, the Native American exhibit is down there. Up top, where? Go ahead, speak on it.
It's next to Central Park. It's another one.
Central Park, yeah.
Yeah, like 60 something.
60, yeah. 60 and 5th Ave, around there, yeah. That's what Central Park is at, yeah. So, that's what that scripture is saying right there. So they know that we're the Israelites, man. The only one who don't want to be the Israelites is the Israelites. Everybody else wants to be the Israelites.